Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahawashi, Bahashem, Rachakadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the Akim who are tuning to these videos. In this video, I wanted to just jump right into the scriptures. I wanted to read this in Jeremiah 23, starting from the top in verse 1. It says, "Woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, saith the Lord." And so when we're out there on the highways and hedges, we're speaking in the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahawashi, those who have ears to hear, those that are of his sheep, to come to the flock, to the gathering, to the church, so that we could worship Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahawashi. And when we're together, we can congregate and fellowship with each other. And that's where Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahawashi is in the midst amongst his congregation. And when you read this first precept in Jeremiah 23:1, it says, "Woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, saith the Lord." So you're going to have a lot of people attempting to scatter Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahawashi's sheep, to dissuade their faith, to overthrow their faith, or whatever they're trying to do is basically of the works of Satan, to deceive those people. And so those people who are scattering the sheep aren't going to be delivered when Yahawashi returns, because what we're going to continue into reading is we're going to be delivered and be a part of the building of the third temple. The elect of the nation of Israel, 144,000 members, are part of that infrastructure. And we are that main temple. Each one of us is a piece to that temple. And so anybody who's trying to disrupt that construction, it's woe unto them. So I'm going to continue on. Verse 2, it says, "Therefore thus saith the Lord Yahweh power of Israel against the pastors that feed my people. Ye have scattered my flock and driven them away, and have not visited them. Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doings, saith the Lord." So anything that they attempt to do, they're going to be met with judgment. Every idle word that they've said, done to us, and everything that they try to disrupt this construction of the third temple, it's going to be met with judgment. That's why it says, "Woe be unto them." So continuing on verse 3, it says, "And I will gather the remnant of my flock out of all the countries whither I have driven them, and will bring them again to their folds, and they shall be fruitful and increase." So this is the prophecy of the elect. 12,000 out of each tribe, adding up to 144,000 members of the nation of Israel. The remnant of Israel, the fine branch, the main ones who are adhering to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahawashi, those who are basically moved with fear and worship Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahawashi, are going to be the only ones that are going to be delivered. And continuing on, this is in verse 4, it says, "And I will set up shepherds over them, which shall feed them, and they shall fear no more, nor be dismayed, neither shall they be lacking, saith the Lord." And so you're seeing right now the shepherds. When Yahawashi was emphasizing that to Peter, to feed his sheep, he said that 3 times to emphasize the importance of it, and to basically reiterate that this is a very important task, and to not let go of the faith. This is something that our forefathers were doing, and now us, coming back in the reincarnation, are doing as well. And so we're going to continue to preach and prophesy the good news of Yahawashi returning, restoring the breaches unto Israel, and establishing righteousness, fulfilling the prophecies that are spoken about in the scriptures. Namely, I'm thinking about the one in Daniel, where in the vision, all these other heathen nations, when they had their time of rulership, gets toppled and destroyed, so that the monument of Israel is established and rules for all eternity. We're never going to go off after this is said and done. We're going to inherit righteousness. We're going to inherit the world. We're going to inherit everything. And so that's basically what, when you hear this word, you become baptized. You want to be a part of this thing and therefore work in this thing. So I'm going to continue on. I'll start at verse 4 again. It says, "And I will set up shepherds over them, which shall feed them. Then they shall fear no more, nor be dismayed, neither shall they be lacking, saith the Lord." And you see that amongst Great Millstone, the shepherds who basically don't hold back. We don't care of all what's going on in the world that's going to hinder us in this ministry. We're watching everything in prophecy unfold in the world's stage, and we're relaying it to you in these videos. And when we do our camps on the highways and hedges, that's part of the ministry's job, to let you guys know what's happening, to feed the flock. So this is in verse 5. It says, "Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch, and a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth." And that's going into the prophecy of the elect. The nation of Israel, under Yahawashi, is going to inherit this world, and they're going to execute judgment and justice. We're going to have that ability because we're going to have that crown of uncorruptibleness, the heart of flesh, the laws written in our inward parts. That is what's bringing us together in this congregation. That's the gospel. When we hear these words, we get galvanized to flock to Yahawashi and to whoever's speaking these things. That's why in the first precept it says, "Woe unto the pastors that scatter my flock," because the Heavenly Father is doing a very great, important work here. And so anybody who is trying to hinder this, it's woe unto them. So continuing on in verse 6, it says, "In his days Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely, and this is his name whereby he shall be called, the Lord our righteousness." And so Judah and Israel, the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, being back together, the breaches being closed thereof, because we are the whole nation of Israel. And you're going to witness the whole nation of Israel, starting with the elect, reign in eternity. There's not going to be enmity between us, because that is part of the curses, hating your brother and all that stuff. But once Yahawashi returns and establishes that name, we're not going to be evil amongst each other. We're going to be holy in righteousness. So this is in verse 7. It says, "Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that they shall no more say, The Lord liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But the Lord liveth, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country, and from all countries whither I had driven them, and they shall dwell in their land." And so that is going to take place. When Yahawashi returns and delivers his elect, it's going to be akin to the time when we left Egypt, the time of Exodus. And there's going to be a very great celebration for the elect, because you can read what takes place in 2nd Ezra 2. You can read what takes place in Revelation 14. We want to be partakers of that. We want to be invited to the wedding. That's why we want to be those 5 wise virgins, as opposed to the other 5 who were foolish and they didn't take heed to Yahawashi's calling and his urgency. All right, so I'm going to read just a few more precepts. This is in Baruch 2 and 30. I'll start at verse 29. It says, "If ye will not hear my voice, surely this very great multitude shall be turned into a small number among the nations, where I will scatter them." And so this is something that the Heavenly Father has stipulated pretty much in the contract in the books of Moses. In Deuteronomy, it goes into the curses and the blessings. And various times, starting even in the book of Judges, going all the way to the New Testament, we've fallen short to the glory of the Most High. And because of that, the stipulation is that we would be under the heathen, sent into captivity, so on and so forth. And so because we have been scattered amongst the heathen and all these other places, where he scattered us, and all these various islands, Japan, the Philippines, South Africa, North Africa, various places. Israel is as the sand of the sea, but because we've gone off, we've been put as the tail as opposed to the head in the totem pole. And so, continuing on, verse 30 says, "For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff necked people, but in the land of their captivities they shall remember themselves." And that's what you're witnessing right now, the dry bones in the valley being risen back up, getting their sinews back, getting their spirit back. All right, so these last precepts, I'm going to jump a little bit in Baruch chapter 4. But I'll read this precept real quick in verse 6. It says, "Ye were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because ye moved the Most High to wrath, ye were delivered unto the enemies." So this isn't because the Heavenly Father hates us and wants to utterly, completely destroy us, albeit it kind of looks like that when Esau Edom is in rulership, but he's the last rulership before we got next. Just as it says in the book of Ezra, Esau is the end of the world, but Jacob is the beginning of it thereof. We're going to experience that. And so we were sold to all these nations because we've gone off. So if you jump down in the same chapter, Baruch 4, and I got to find it again. Let me see. I'll start at verse 27, but the point I think is at 29. So this is verse 27. It says, "Be of good comfort, O my children, and cry unto Yahawashi, for ye shall be remembered of him that brought these things upon you." And that's why we're calling unto the elect, the flock that's been scattered, and bringing them into the fold, because this is good news right here, that we are supposed to be in good comfort, because now we know that these prophecies apply to us, that we've been scattered, but the Heavenly Father didn't do that just to utterly do away with us. He did that for a small period. He did that for our iniquities. But now that that time of punishment is almost up, he's going to bless us. So continuing on, verse 28, it says, "For as it was your mind to go astray from the Most High, so being returned, seek him 10 times more. For he that hath brought these plagues upon you shall bring you everlasting joy with your salvation." And that's what we're looking for, hastening the times for Yahawashi's return, so that he could close up the breaches amongst Judah and Israel and establish the nation of Israel, Yasharallah, as the true rulers of this world. And that's what we hope for. But with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahawashi, Bahashem Rachakadash, Shalom Akim.